Hello, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Hey. Happy Thursday. Happy end of the first week of June,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
middle of the year,
Yeah.
right? Just
Yeah.
allowing everybody to settle in.
Mhm.
Yeah, come on and get yourself something to drink, get yourself a sip of water,
Yeah. A little tea. Mm-hmm.
some tea, whatever floats your boat at this point of the game. And yeah, while everybody's doing their thing, coming on in, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. What you think?
Okay. All right. I'm with it.
Okay,
I'm happy to go.
go ahead.
I am Marissa, a free, courageous, authentic woman, your embodiment coach, and I help Black folks specifically feel good and safe inside of their bodies. And I do that through the power of breath work, movement, and connecting folks with their five senses of sight, of smell, of sound, of touch, of taste, to really connect with their inner pleasure. So that is me.
I so love that you included taste in there. I just so love that. I don't know why that hit me particularly today. I probably just need to go taste some things today. All right. I don't know why
Yes.
that touched me particularly today. All right. Hey, everybody. I'm Latoya, your spiritual inner power practitioner, guide, and coach, really connecting you to your inner self, helping you center, helping you ground, helping you find your higher self, your inner
Mhm.
self, helping you heal through releasing and really stepping into your inner power. I'm a master Reiki practitioner and master EFT or tapping practitioner, and helping you be your best self. Yeah,
Yes.
that's what we're doing. That's what
Yeah.
we're doing.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I woke up this morning and um, I think probably just about an hour ago, I got like some really some good downloads for today's live. So
Hey, let's get into
um,
it. I'm ready.
let's do it. Let's do it. I pulled a card today
Okay.
from African Goddess Rising,
Mhm.
and I don't know. She just kind of she jumped out. She said, "This is what the people would like to, or some of the people need to hear today, including myself, including myself." Okay, I'm gonna show her.
Okay.
If
The
y'all can see
segment.
that, Sekhmet. That's Sekhmet,
Mm-hmm.
wounded healer.
Mm.
Now, I know, I know. I know. Hold on. Let me put up today's topic because how can you not, right? Wounded healer
Can
and
I just tell
what
y'all? I'm so sorry. There's somebody knocking on my door, so I'm gonna put it on mute. But I'm listening because
okay.
this is in alignment with the cards that I pulled today.
Oh. All right. So I don't want to keep the people waiting. Let me let you know. So the guidance today is heal thyself. Everyone gets your best except you. Now let me repeat. Oh, because I said that in a video or in a post somewhere the other day, right? Everybody gets your best except you. You are a healer among your tribe. Stop putting your needs last. And I love this question because this question, woo, this question right here. When did you decide to become a martyr?
We started talking. I had a. Okay.
And it's such a powerful question because uh, Yeah, for me, it's so connected to what I was led to talk about and reveal today.
Mm-hmm.
When did you decide to become a martyr? And that question for me was answered uh, through a Reiki session of my own. And this decision is not necessarily conscious, right? This decision sometimes is an inner child decision, or it's a wounded self decision, or it's a people pleasing decision, right? It's a decision of sometimes survival, or sometimes just wanting to be accepted and embraced. Um, Subconscious subliminal decision.
Mm.
But when did you decide?
I had a conversation with a friend last night about martyrdom and realizing once I really realized what the word meant, I was
Mhm,
like,
mhm,
why are we celebrating this in our communities? Specifically in our communities as women, and then in a lot of religious communities. I was mentioning how I went to my best friend's mother's funeral, and they
mhm,
were, you know, like really congratulating her for putting everyone before herself. Like she was selfless, and she always was worried about everybody else and not caring about herself. But at the end, or a lot of her life, her body was failing, her health was
mhm,
failing. Like there
mhm,
were
mhm,
there were so many issues with her because everyone else was more important than her own being.
mhm,
And
mhm.
that to me, I'm sitting in the church like, is anybody else hearing how terrible this is? I don't, why are we glorifying this? I don't know. It boggles my mind. I honestly like, it boggles my mind. One, because it just doesn't make any sense. But secondly, it boggles my mind because I once was her. And
Yes,
sometimes I struggle with being her.
yes,
That just ties into that, that people pleasing, non-confrontational energy, right? Of like,
yes,
let me just do for them and make them feel good kind of thing. And I don't identify with it as much anymore. Um, and when I see myself doing it, I'm like, I check myself immediately. Like, what are we doing? What are you doing? Does that make you feel good? Or are you trying to make somebody else feel good?
right. At your expense.
At my expense. Thank you for yes, because that sentence wasn't
Mhm.
complete. Thank you. Yes.
Mhm, mhm. At your expense. And because so my belief, my
Mhm.
conviction is that we were given that, right? Like that was a projection. That
Mhm.
and when I say projection, I mean injection. Right? Right? That
Yes.
was an inoculation,
Yes.
okay, particularly in our community and very specifically for women, so that you could stay in your place,
Mm.
right? And that you could be injected with the notion that you ought to feel good being in your place and making sure that everybody
Mm.
else is good and
Mm.
everybody else is fed and everybody else is comfortable and everybody else is nourished at your expense so that you can continue giving and making sure that everything is running smoothly and like you said, martyrdom, and you kill yourself, right?
Yeah.
You kill yourself, you sacrifice yourself at that expense. And what's woo, y'all have got me fired up right now. Because the issue with that is that now, as we are awakening as a society, we're trying to
Mhm.
correct that pendulum, right? We're trying to bring it back to the middle. And now we have to talk about, we have to do so much work. You probably too, but with my clients, so much work, and with myself, even answering the
Mhm.
question, "What do you want?" This is a symptom of the inoculation.
Oh,
What do you want? Right? That you you have the right to desire. You have the right for pleasure. You have the right to self please. You have the right to buy something because you like it and you
yes.
want it,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Outside of need, right? So this is like a whole healing
Mm.
energy
What
thing around
what do
you
you
being okay with what you want.
what do you want is a hard question for people to ask. I mean,
Yes,
to answer.
to
A hard
answer.
question for people to answer. And there's an activity that I have done around this question, what do you want? And a lot of times we'll be like, happiness. And it's like, okay, well, what does that look like?
We can't
Well,
even answer.
yes, no. We can't answer what happiness looks like. I want, generational wealth. Okay. What
My
does that look
children to be happy. As long as my children are happy, I'm happy.
Okay, what makes your children happy then? What 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 do you want? And it's so difficult to where people can't even they get frustrated and angry because they don't want to be asked this question anymore because they don't have a real answer for it, and they have this idea of happiness as a fairy tale, right? Um a fairy tale of what they see on TV, not
Mhm,
necessarily
mhm.
believing that it's available to them.
Or that
And
it even exists, or that
or
it's even
that
a real thing.
that happiness is even real. And I know why two cards came up for me.
Mm, mm.
Because when you're talking about this martyrdom, we got this 10 of swords, and says everything is fine. Right? Meanwhile, there's swords in her neck, in her back, in her behind, in her arms, in her chest, and she's like, "Oh, I'm good. I'm just, I'm just here. I'm fine. Everything's fine." No, it is not. It's not.
It's not.
It's not fine. And it is just like, this is what we choose to tell ourselves in order to keep going, keep surviving, right? Keep people pleasing, keep showing up, because that's what we are told to do. And when you said this part about our inoculation, or like this injection, this piercing is what I
Mhm,
see.
mhm,
um
mhm,
but
mhm.
this whole at the beginning of the month, on June 1st, I had some friends over, and we were talking about taking our own medicine as healers.
Mm, mm.
And she's like, what would it be like to take your own medicine every day for the next 30 days? What would that be,
Wow.
right? So we
Wow.
need to provide ourselves like the tools that you and I provide, and other healers. Some of us, not some of us, all of us have it inside of ourselves. But if you don't feel like you have it, take these tools as medicine to counteract this
This
injection.
inoculation. Yes
Yes,
and yes.
yes. And
Yes
I
and
take this
yes.
medicine for that. And I even not only take my own every day, I have been in community with them, taking some of theirs. There's
Yes.
sound healing, right? There's conversation, there's dance and yoga. Like, there's all these different types of medicines that are available to us that help us come back to what feels good inside of our body, what
Yeah.
makes us feel safe and secure and confident enough to say exactly what it is that we want, to hear what that is, right?
Yes.
Because we
Yes.
don't know.
Because we don't know.
How we get worked up in the first, like,
And I knew it. I knew it. I
yeah.
knew it about an hour ago. And just a download, and I was like, "This is gonna be
Mm.
yes," because
Let's go. Let's go. Let's
all
go.
right. The topic, y'all. Hold on, let me put that back up there.
That is hilarious. We have
Because
not
I
even
could.
topic yet.
The topic is what keeps us from playing bigger, and I feel like we have been broaching the topic, right? Because
Mhm.
some of that, the martyrism, um, is some of what keeps us from playing bigger. Before we even get into the question, I was contemplating this thought, about our communities and about success and about redefining. And my husband and I were talking about this morning, right? About the borders,
Mm.
the borders and the barriers that were placed around us, right? By society, by collective conscious, whatever your community is, right? That you can go here and no further,
Yeah.
right? That
Mm.
that this is your this is your space right here.
Mm,
And how you are told that in so many different ways and forms by so many different medias.
mm,
And I thought about, I don't know in depth, but I thought about, the caste system in
mm,
um, in the Indian community, and how that is replicated in so many different forms around us. And it's so important because so many of us, particularly as women, we're feeling like, oh, what's keeping me from playing bigger is I procrastinate, right? Or I have perfectionism, or, I'm, some of us think we're lazy,
yeah.
and we're not,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
we're not,
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
right? Some of us think we're self-sabotaging when in fact what's happened is you're playing the loop that you were placed in,
Mm-hmm.
and really can't see outside of that loop. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not of your doing, right? You did not do this to yourself. But
Mm.
now we have to create the awareness and come out of that loop.
Yeah.
Those are just some thoughts that were circulating in my head as we were talking this morning. But I guess that's just to get the energy going.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I wanted to ask you, and I thought about two big things for me,
Okay.
um, that I really needed to become aware of first and then heal through, so that I could even take the first step, so that I could even think that playing bigger was possible for me. Like I
Mm.
could even think that that's a thing that I can and should be and will be doing, right?
Mm.
There were some really big things, oh, big things that were blocking me that I didn't even know I wasn't playing big.
Yeah.
How about that? How about that?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'd like to ask you, maybe just go in and center. Maybe are there two big things that you felt? They don't have to be like super in your past. Maybe something that you've just become aware of, or you
Mhm.
just, you know, um, have healed through, or something like that. Two things for you.
Yeah. It's so interesting that you use the number two. Because
Is
yeah, I was just thinking about this morning. Two big things that keep me from playing bigger is that my shadows of judgment and comparison. Um, judgment of myself and others, and comparison of myself to others.
Which is really like two sides of the same coin,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I have really been sitting with them. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
recently, I had a reading, or last week I had a reading around not just self love, because your girl's been like, we love on her. It's the shadow part of her that we don't send love to, the part that we don't like that much or we don't think is that pretty. And so my yeah, the loop. Okay. The shadows of judgment and comparison have been two that I've just been sitting with in my journal writing, or just been noticing um as I either go through my day, my thoughts that come up. It's like, why are you judging them? Why is that important? Why is
Mm.
that your business? Really? Right? Why is that your business? And then when it comes to, when I get to the answer, it's because maybe I wouldn't have done that, or it's me that I'm judging, or I wouldn't have had I don't have the confidence enough to do this thing that somebody else is doing, and I'm judging what they look like or how they sound,
Mm.
right?
Mhm,
uh,
mhm, mhm.
or
Ooh, this is so good.
when it comes to the comparison part, it's like I am learning more to feel more inspired by what I see, versus being like, dang, they did it already, or I can't do it, or there's not enough space for me.
Right.
And I'm releasing this idea. So I've looked into, not looked into, social media I use as a tool to learn a lot. Sometimes I get stuck in the comparison, but a lot more often I am looking at ways to expand. And I learned about my life path number, which is a one. And ones are leaders, they are out front, right? But that means sometimes it's a little lonely and a little like people don't understand you, right? Because you're doing something that is different or new or just not inside of that box. And sometimes people want to emulate you because they see something new that they aspire to be. And I'm over here scared and judging myself like don't copy that just yet because I'm not sure. I'm not sure it's good. Wait a second. And it's like, why are you doubting? Why are you second guessing? Why one, these people for copying something that you haven't refined yet, or judging yourself for not refining it before someone started to emulate it, right? And learning that emulation sometimes is the only option that people have. They're like, I had a client who, when I started to move in my breathwork practice, she was like, I'm just going to move like you because I don't really know what to do yet. I don't really know how to move my body yet. And I was like, oh, so it's not like they're not trying to be themselves or they don't want to be them. They don't know. Like when I come back to this question, what do you want? I don't know what I want, but let me try on what you're doing to see if that is good for me. So that was a very long-winded answer, but
no, it was a very detailed and expository answer,
yeah,
right? Because when you give those kinds of answers, then we can relate and we can see something in ourselves.
yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Let's see. What's your two?
So one of the big ones was fear of hurting others, which I think is tied to that martyrdom, right? And so let me say this. I know people are feeling this, right? But let's just say it. Martyrdom is not just physical, right? You can be, and somebody needs to hear this clearly. You can be killing yourself for the pleasure of others, mentally, emotionally, financially,
Come on.
professionally, and spiritually, right? And so for the longest time, you can be saying, as long as they're happy, I'm good, right? Because their happiness is your happiness, right? Which is a fallacy. That's wrong. Their happiness is not your happiness. You can empathize and sympathize and synchronize with their happiness, but it is not your happiness. Let's just go ahead and create that separation right now. You get to have your own happiness. Wheeling it back. And so that's the loop that I was stuck in. As long as they're happy, as long as my family is happy and safe and secure, and feeling okay and feeling respected, as long as the people that I used to lead in congregations, as long as they're feeling okay with who I am, right? Which is a martyrdom. It's a martyrdom of my own identity and my own spiritual authority and power. I'm killing who I am becoming so that they can feel okay with who I am, right? Which I'm just gonna say, y'all, is a ludicrousy. And if I just made up that word, fantastic, because that's exactly what it is.
It sounds right to me.
It's a ludicrousy. Right? So and that's what was happening with me, and I wanted so badly not for people not to be hurt by who I was becoming, and at the same time committing professional and spiritual martyrdom. So that was keeping me, and I thought about this the other day, right? Because playing big sounds cool and it feels cool, right? But I need to say it in a way that it wakes me up, right?
Yeah.
It was having me play small.
Yeah.
And feel comfortable playing small.
Yeah.
Right? And the second thing um, was I was so afraid. And this one, y'all, this had to come through energy work. This had to come through Reiki because I couldn't see it. I could not see it. I was like, what do you mean by playing small? I am playing big. You don't see me out here. You don't see me out here making posts and stuff. Like, you don't see me out here like inviting you. But through Reiki, I understood that even though I was saying, hey, y'all, come on, I was energetically saying, don't come yet, don't come too many. And the reason is because I was afraid of leaving my family. So that was the thing. That was
Mm.
the thing. I was afraid of leaving my family. I was afraid of leaving my kids. Part of that was because I was military for 10 years. I was doing exercises. I deployed. We were separated by the military for 3 years, my husband and I. And so I left the military to not do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so that fear and let me say, that was a pattern in my family. My parents worked extremely hard. My grandparents worked extremely hard, right? Children were left alone a lot. That's not uncommon in the era that we grew up in. But I knew for certain I didn't want that. And so I sabotaged myself because I didn't want that. I was accepted to go do a workshop. It was going to be my first paid speaking gig in California, and I did not answer. I didn't go. And listen, y'all, somebody need to hear this today. I thought it was because I didn't think I was good enough, or I didn't think that I was, no. What it really was I was afraid that I was not going to break the cycle that I decided I was going to break, that I was not going to create the new pattern that I decided I wanted to create. And that was lurking around in my subconscious. It would not have come out if I did not do the energy work. And I'm just saying that now. It was super important for me.
Mm.
And even now, sometimes I grapple with it. And I know I'm going long, but even now, sometimes I will not be on this iMac. I will be on my laptop out there where my son is doing homework because there is that energy. And I have to catch myself. Be like, Toy, what you doing out here? What you doing out here? Come on, what are you doing out here?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then I have
You can
to
take your own space. Like, yeah.
go back. Get your office, go concentrate and go do your work, girl. That's what I have to talk to myself. But those were really two big things for me.
Mm. Mm. Making sure everybody else is happy. I wanted to revisit that because how do we measure if other people are happy? Um, I don't find us asking our friends, our family, our children, our partners, how are you feeling about our relationship? Are
Come
you
on.
happy in this relationship? So we just make up stories as to if they're not complaining, then they're happy, right? Or wanting to give our children what we didn't have, even though that may not be the thing that makes them happy. I
Right.
I just I am speaking from my own experience. I don't have children, but I have parent. I'm a child of another adult, and the lifestyle that they want for me is not what I live. And so
Well,
that is, but they want something for me that they didn't have, which I've already accomplished, right? I went to college. I got this high paying job. I got this position and all that other kind of stuff because that was something that they didn't have and they wanted me to have, right?
mm-hmm,
But that
mm-hmm,
didn't make me happy just because it was something that they didn't have access to.
right.
And so now
Mhm.
I'm doing what actually makes me happy. And I think there's a bit of a disconnect there
Yes.
because
Yes.
it's like I could see it's like I did all these things to make sure that she went to this had this opportunity and she should be happy with that. And that was to make me happy. Now I wouldn't say they're not happy because I'm doing something that's not in alignment, but I don't think it is bringing them joy the way that I'm moving through life or what I'm choosing to do to make
Right.
me happy. It does that make sense?
It does. It does make
Okay.
sense. Because no, and what it brings up for me is so much, first of all. But what it brings up for me is just because, even from their perspective, just because you're doing what they actually want you to do doesn't necessarily mean they're happy. So imagine that. Imagine that you're fulfilling their goals for you, or their desire for you, or their want with what you want to do with their life. You're not happy and they're not happy. So
What are we
what about
doing?
that? What are we doing, right? Because the truth, like you said, what really is happiness, right? The truth of the matter is they might be able to be proud of you, they might be
Yeah.
able to respect you, but
Yeah.
that is not the equivalent of happiness, right?
Yeah.
Their happiness is in fact their own happiness and cannot be defined by what you are doing
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
not doing.
Yeah. Because they would be way more happier if their happiness relied on mine. Because I am living, okay?
Right.
I'm full of joy
Right.
every day.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Mm,
So here we are, very often subconsciously trying to fulfill other people's happiness
mm,
when that's just not the process. It's just not the way that it works.
you're right.
It's just
Right.
not the way that it works.
Right.
Hmm. Hmm.
What keeps us from playing bigger is worrying about what other people that let me tell you, this young lady on one of the socials, little white girl in the back seat of the car. It's an old video that went viral, but it still lives in my consciousness. She
Mm-hmm.
said, worry about yourself. Her dad was trying to get her to buckle up her seatbelt. He was like, you need help. She was like, no, I got it. It was just taking her a little bit of time.
Right.
She was like, no, just worry about yourself. Just worry about yourself.
Mm.
Got it. And at first it's like that little girl talking to her daddy like that. Crazy.
Right.
But it's also, if you just listen to the words and take the emotion out of it, listen to the words. You worry about you. I'm worrying about me. I'm taking care of me. It may not be as fast as you want me to do it, but I'm doing it.
Well, but I'm
Allow me
doing
to
it.
allow me to do it. Like we want to step in and make sure people have what they need to make them happy, or step in and get things done faster or in a way that we want it, instead of allowing people to have their happiness and you worry about yours. And
Yes.
so that just her saying worry about yourself, I'm like, she's a prophet. I love I love right? And it's like, listen to the children. I have really been reflecting on listening to the children, watching the children,
Yes.
what they do and say. Take away the fact that I'm supposed to be this superior being, this adult here, and you're a child and you need to listen to me. Take that part away. What are the words that they are saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, I
Yeah.
that just reminded me, the worry about yourself. Take care of yourself.
I'll tell you why that's so important to me. And ooh, this has been a like power packed half hour, y'all. We could end here and it would be so power packed. I'll tell you why that's so important to me. It's so important to me because it is my conviction. It's my firm belief that we came here so very perfect before we were inoculated, injected, projected upon with whatever the version of the caste system, of who and what you're supposed to do, and how far you can go. And so when you listen to them in all their freedom, right? In all their freedom and glory and truthness, we could learn a lot about ourselves,
Exactly.
about ourselves,
Yeah.
and about who we were, about who we were, who we were made to become
Mm-hmm.
and who we can become,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
something as simple as I remember watching my daughter when she was like 2 or 3, and I remember her squatting to pick something up, and I was like, and I was in the process of kind of, you know, getting fit again after giving birth and stuff like that. And I remember her squatting, pick something up, and I was like, "Listen, look how we have to get coaches and look at books to how to have posture again, how to pick up things again, right? how to use your legs and not your back." And she just naturally squat, use her legs, pick it up. Like nobody has to tell her that, right?
Yes. Yes.
And so how we came into the world
Mm-hmm.
before
Yeah.
all the things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oof.
it's firmly important to me. It's super important to me what you just said. Super
Mm-hmm.
important to me
Mm-hmm.
because the confidence we came in with, the love we came in with,
Mm-hmm.
the acceptance and
Mm-hmm.
grace that we came in with, the
Mm-hmm.
purity that we came in with,
Yeah.
the authenticity that we came in with.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they like being untouched, untapped. Like you
Mm,
can say things like worry about yourself, and you're not thinking about any harm being done to anyone. You're not worrying about how they feel. You're not trying to navigate um, any sort of dynamics in the relationship.
right,
There's
right,
as children, they are just pure
right. And
beings.
trusting that you can accept my truth and keep moving.
Yeah,
Right? That you can accept my authenticity
yeah,
and we continue on our relationship. They
yeah,
trust that.
yeah. Wow. Yes. There's something to be learned from the children, y'all. Okay. And I realized this in my last Soul Work Sunday. There was a young lady, maybe she was 3, maybe 4. And a lot of us would consider her a distraction at this event because she
Mm,
was the only kid. It was adults in this workshop, but she was welcome. Right. And so she was there and we were about to go into meditation. And so I'm settling myself and I got my eyes closed, like really trying to reflect and quiet my mind and stuff. And I just opened my eyes and I see her she drops to her knees and then she goes down like this on the floor. And then she runs over to this woman in the circle and puts her 2 hands together to the other woman's hand. She said, "Thank you." And then she went to everybody in the circle. "Thank you. Thank you. Thank
wow.
you. Thank you." And what I realize is you have everything you need. Just open your eyes and be
Mm,
present. One. Secondly, like surrender to life.
mm,
You just it was when she did that, it was just like a just surrender to what is. And
mhm,
then it was like, and be grateful.
mhm.
Open your eyes, surrender to what is, and just be grateful, and you will
Just be
have
grateful.
everything that you need.
Mhm,
And the topic was around the heart and nurturing your heart and loving, and that's like the biggest form of love we can give to ourselves is to open our eyes and see the beauty that is right, surrender to it and just be grateful for what we have. um and the love will pour in and out however it needs to, but we don't need to do anything specific for anyone to make it like to feel good inside of our own bodies. um yeah, she was amazing.
yeah, that is
Gosh.
amazing. That's amazing. That's
Yeah,
amazing. Hmm.
that's all I got.
It makes, this is not the direction I think we were going with, but it really brings to mind in different communities and different sacred houses the way that we treat children.
Mm, mm,
I remember when John was born and we were in church, You know, he might have been, I don't know, 6 months, 7 months old. And I remember being told, well, you know, train him to be this way in this place, right? Um, and you know, it's all kinds of things. We pinch them, we
Yeah.
we hold them down, we do all kinds of things. But I just wonder, in their purity, you
Hmm.
know, in their purity, in their authenticity, if we
Hmm.
let them be, what could come forth in
Yeah.
many of these different places of
Yeah.
sacredness and worship and whatever it is that you do, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Um, it real quick. We
Hmm.
went to we went to go eat at this Mexican place in Coimbra. If you're in Portugal, Coimbra. Tu taqueria way, phenomenal. So we were there. We were waiting. My daughter gets up. She gets out of the restaurant and she goes. There's this really big grass patchy area, and then around the grass patchy area are restaurants. There's a sushi restaurant, a steak restaurant. There's a Mexican restaurant. She gets out of the Mexican restaurant while we're waiting for the food. She goes and she sits in the middle of the grassy patchy area. There are other people sitting outside. And she sits there by herself, cross legged, and she just goes into meditation for a few minutes by herself in the middle of this grassy patch area, right? She's 5. And so, as parents, the way that I was brought up, you know, there are all kinds of ways that we could have handled that.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
But what if we just let them be their magnificent, powerful selves
Hmm. Hmm.
and play big the way that they play big? I mean, what could we learn from them in playing big? What could we learn from them so that we may play bigger?
I mean, in that moment, how many people did she inspire, right? How
Mm-hmm.
many people did she inspire to say it's okay to go be by yourself for a little bit, right? You can be alone and not be lonely because there's plenty of people around.
Right.
Right? But take yourself out, do something for yourself, right?
Mhm.
Take a moment to be still. When we,
Mhm.
and it probably even resonated with someone like, when was the last time I meditated? Maybe I need to
Right.
go do that, right?
Right.
um, it is okay to be inside of your body, right? And even for you all, like, she is safe inside of her.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
She feels safe enough
Ooh,
to go
that's so big.
in the middle of this big space with all these people moving around. She feels safe enough inside of her to just go sit there,
Yeah.
right?
And be herself.
And be herself.
Be herself and do what she felt led to do in the moment.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a big one. Being in the moment. She decided she's going to be in the moment.
Yeah.
And I love that you said that. I know we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but being safe in your body
Mhm.
and not worrying about the criticism, the judgment, what people are going to say, think, do, like
Nothing.
feeling safe in your body
Hmm.
with your intuition.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Ooh.
She's just there. That was a blessing for so many people that watched her. Meanwhile, as parents, I can only imagine, like, girl, we don't want nobody to snatch her up, or like, there's all these other things that can be, all this chatter, because we have lived a life where we have seen things and experienced things and what have you. But there is something that can be taken away from that. There's so much more good that can be taken away from that
Right, right,
than the
right.
worry, anxiety, or the, like, get back over here, you know? There's
Yes,
so
yeah,
much.
exactly, exactly. And thinking about the little girl that was at the event that you were at,
Mhm.
right? The same thing, that she was safe in her body. She was safe enough in her body to feel, this is what I feel like to do, and I'm going to do it. And not thinking about what, because how many women may have been, or people may have been in the circle and may have felt, maybe I'm feeling like I want to go around the circle and say thank you, but stop themselves
Mhm.
because of what somebody might think, what
Mm-hmm.
somebody might feel,
Mm.
what somebody might say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 I mean, I can think of myself for sometimes where I just want to go give somebody a hug. And it's like, I don't know. They don't do that. It's like, girl, just walk up to them and ask.
Mhm.
I mean, it, I mean, we are in a world where there's a lot of things going on, but what would it be like for a day to act on your
Ooh.
like impulse? What feels good?
Mhm.
And we know what feels safe and unsafe. So, keep that in mind. But
Right.
like act on your intuitive impulse. What
Mhm.
feels good to do in this moment?
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
and there's
Mhm.
oftentimes Sundays, that's what I will do. It's like intuition game, we call it. It's like, okay, I get up. What do I want to do right now? I'm hungry. Okay, let me get something to eat. All right, I want to take a shower. I want to just go for a walk in the park. So I'll just go to the park. And then the park leads me, I don't know, to the next park. Like I just allow it.
Yeah.
What would happen if we just took a day
Yeah.
to just
Yeah.
be like your little one, like, you know what? I just feel like going to sit over here. So I'm going to go do that right now.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and we could even take that exercise a little further, maybe for those of you who have children, to allow your child to do it for you. And like you follow,
I love this.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mm. Mm.
Whew. Okay, that was good. How do you
Yeah.
feel? You feel full?
Yeah.
That was so good and juicy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to encourage you all, those of you who are listening, whatever you're listening now or on the hashtag replay, right, to really sit with it. What keeps you from playing bigger?
Mm.
Really sit with that. Really sit with it. What's keeping you from playing bigger? What does playing bigger look like for you?
Mm-hmm.
And how are you going to take that next big step? What are you going to, how are you going to clear that energy so that you can take that next big step,
Yeah.
right?
So I have this other card,
Oh, yes. Okay, go ahead.
if that's okay.
Yeah, let's close out with that.
So it is the Knight of Swords, and she's on her horse. She is intent, like
Mm.
she's going towards something, right?
Mm.
It says in a general context, the Knight of Swords is a change card. It tells you that a big change is coming, one you have been awaiting for quite some time, and you better be ready to roll with it when it does. It's time to jump in and seize the moment. This card is a card of being assertive, direct, honest, quick-witted, and intellectual. It signifies being dashing, daring, brave, courageous, or rebellious. It also represents being talkative, ambitious, forward thinking, focused, and single minded when it appears in your tarot spread. It can indicate that you go against the flow and have great leadership qualities, and that you are a perfectionist and a risk taker. If representing a person between the ages of 20 and 35, we are outside of that range, but that's fine. Who has a strong personality, is quick witted, a fast talker, intelligent, daring, and rebellious. Um, yeah, champions, heroes, and warriors charging into battle are signified by this card. And as such, it can represent a soldier or someone in the military. So this is a time of swift change, going for what's big, taking risks, being honest, direct,
Yeah,
ambitious.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the Knight of
Let's
Swords.
do it. Let's do it. Let's do it, y'all. Let's do it. Let's play bigger.
Yes.
Let's play bigger.
Yeah.
Let's play bigger, y'all.
Okay.
All right, Marissa, you want to tell the people what you got coming up?
Yeah, so there's a lot coming up in person. I am doing orgasmic breathing circles on Thursdays here in New Orleans. We have Awakening the Senses on the 17th of June, which is breath work, sounds as well as cacao. And we are igniting all of the senses to connect with what feels good inside of our bodies. And then, um, yeah, just private orgasmic breathing sessions right now for the virtual folks. But we have some virtual things in the works that we're playing with. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, yeah,
Everything
yeah.
on our website.
Woo hoo hoo hoo.
Mhm.
All right, let me just go get. All right, hold on. Okay. So what did let me change. What I got going on? Um, on the 14th is the masterclass, Mastering Your Energy to Take the Next Big Step.
Mhm.
We'll be in there for 90 minutes. I'm going to give you specifically five practices that you can take with you. Energetic practices, right? So these are practices that you will go in to connect ground center with your energy and then use your energy to then magnetize, attract, release, whatever balance, whatever it is that your body or your situation or your household needs. You get to personalize it. So I'm going to give you 5 exercises. The very first one always being grounding and centering. We'll do that maybe a couple of ways so that you can personalize it, you can take it, and then you can use it for your best and highest good.
Mhm.
Listen, y'all, this masterclass is it's worth so much money because if you actually do these practices regularly, you literally can shift and change your life. My
Mhm.
clients have. So it's only $35 because I want to make it accessible. So if you've been curious, you've been dabbling, just come on in and experience it for yourself, right? Just experience it.
Yeah.
And then you can take the power with you, right? So it's
Mhm.
mastering your energy to take your next big step. And like I said, there's no PowerPoint, there's no 30-minute commercial at the end, there's no workbook, there's no frills, there's no strategy. It's let's get in here and work with your energy so that you can be your best and highest self. Let's
Mhm.
do that. That really is my heart. So I'm not knocking those other things. Those other things necessary.
Yeah.
This is not what this is.
Yeah.
That's not what this is. Okay. So that's what I got coming up. And then Tapping Tuesday on June 20th. Y'all know my tapping series is powerful. So
Mhm.
Tapping Tuesday, we're gonna tap to play bigger.
Mm.
So that's gonna be on Tuesday. It's gonna be in my Facebook group, the new one, Women's Elevated Tapping Circle.
Mm.
So come on in, look out for those links. Come on in and let's tap so that you can play bigger in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
Oof. We are getting some stuff done. We are out here sharing our medicine. Please make sure that you tap in and help yourself be happy,
Yes,
get what you want,
yes,
all of it.
yes. Thank you all for sharing your energy. Thank you all for coming.
Yes.
Thank you for your comments, Jen. Love you.
Yes.
Listen, the link is going to be here. The replay is going to be here. So you know someone who really needs to hear this today. Share
Yes.
the link.
Please do.
Share the link, and all things being well, we'll see you next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, everybody.